Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. It is always a pleasure and an honor to be on with the best fans in the NFL, the faithful, the Niner Empire. Always a pleasure to be on with you guys. Obviously, the 49ers are on a 5-game winning streak. We're looking to make it 6 games in a row next week against them good old Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're coming off of a short week. They played last night on Monday Night Football. Pretty good game towards the end of the game. The Buccaneers made they made a comeback. Who would have known? TB12 made a comeback, right? But tonight is a very, very special show. I have a gentleman who you guys know. If you guys are 49er fans, if you guys bleed red and gold, how do you not know about Niner sickness? I will be bringing him on very shortly. But huge shout out to everyone. If you're watching Jay and the Bay YouTube, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification as well for live streams like this and when I release video. So huge shout out to everyone that could make it. But let's bring on our guest right now. Goes by the name of Niner Sickness, aka Beto. Has his own YouTube channel, does other shows as well. We will get into that. But let's bring on this gentleman, Niner Sickness. What's good? How you doing tonight, brother?
What's up, Faithful? How are you doing, brother? I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to be on your show, brother. Excited.
Hey, appreciate you coming on tonight, man. I know you are a busy man. We're all busy. It's a holiday season. Hopefully everyone was able to spend some time, with their family and things like that. But it's been a minute since we've been on each other's channel. But how was Thanksgiving for you? Were you able to spend time with some family? Let me know about that first and foremost, man. How was Thanksgiving?
Appreciate it for asking. It was good. It was just, the kids doing their own thing. They're all growing up with their families. So me and the wife, we decided, you know what, we're just going to have a small turkey and a small ham. And I decided to smoke both the ham and the turkey in my Traeger smoker. So I smoked. It came out really, really good. She prepared all the stuffings and everything that goes with it. And it was just me and the wife. And then after that, we went out and spent almost about $1,500 just on Christmas stuff. Because she wanted a new tree. We got a 9-footer, and so we started decorating around the house and just started to make it fit. So it was just me and it was nice, quiet. Normally you have all the kids yelling and screaming, which I love that as well, the grandkids. But I'm not gonna lie, it was a beautiful, quiet Thanksgiving, and I enjoyed it.
Hey,
how was
absolutely.
yours?
Hey, mine was excellent. I went to my uncle's house. That's been a tradition to go there. We've probably gone there the last 10 to 15 years. Excellent cook. And I got to see my cousins, and it was a grand old time, as I like to say. I got to ask you, though, 2 questions. And the chat, feel free to answer these questions as well. You mentioned you are buying a Christmas tree. So are you an artificial tree type of guy, or are you you like the real tree? You like to smell that pine? I love to know.
I used to be a real tree type of guy until we had uninvited critter, come into our home one time and scared the crap out of both me and the wife. And we're like artificial all the way, whether we smell it or not. At least we know nothing's coming out of that.
Absolutely.
So we've been artificial for years now.
Yeah, I'm artificial too. When I was a kid, it was we got the real tree every year. But now, yeah, we're all artificial. So one more question, and then we'll get to football, I promise. You mentioned you cook Thanksgiving dinner, and I got to ask, how long do you keep your leftovers? Are you a 3-day guy? You're a 5-day, 7-day, or what is it?
2 days.
2 days? Okay.
Only because I'm a big guy, and it's a big guy. I do not need to be eating all that. We bought a really small, like I said, it was just both of us. We bought we bought more ham than we did turkey. We're not big fans of turkey, but I like to smoke it anyway, in the Traeger. But 2 days, maybe the ham 3 days. But after, I don't know about you, but after 2 days, man, eating the same food kind of gets like,
I agree with that. I'm like a 2-day, 3-day type of guy on the Thanksgiving leftovers. Feel free, the chat, you can respond to those questions. Are you an artificial tree? You're a real tree? Or how long do you like to keep your Thanksgiving leftovers? I feel that was a nice icebreaker, but let's get into some 49er football. We will get into the Fins and 49ers game, but first we got to talk about the latest 49ers news. I'm sure everyone has heard of it now, but Jimmy G, there was speculation before this news came out that Jimmy G was having, or he suffered a Les Frank foot injury, but that is not the case. It looks like he will only be out 7 to 8 weeks. He does not have a Liz Frank injury. It looks like he just has a partial fracture, but the 49ers and Jimmy G are expected to rehab his foot. So if rehab goes well, Jimmy could potentially return to the 49ers in the playoffs. So I have a question for you, Beto. What are your thoughts on Jimmy G's injury news? And then I have a follow-up question for you as well.
Um, it's great. I mean, listen, we were initially told that he was out for the season. He was going to have required to have surgery, and he was done. So it was about riding Brock Purdy all the way through. Now they came out to say he don't need to have surgery. He's just going to rehab it. So whether he's able to come back or not for the playoffs is yet to be seen. But listen, if there's a light in the tunnel, there it is. It's an opportunity for him to come in, and hopefully Brock can get us there. If Brock can get us there, if Jimmy does come back for the playoffs, I don't think it'll be for the first set of the play. It'll probably be the second round of the playoffs. So Purdy will still have to get us past the first round. So we'll see what happens. But at least it's nice to hear that he might be back instead of losing him for sure for the whole year.
Yeah, when I initially saw the injury, it definitely looked bad. I thought for sure, he was done for the rest of the year. I think it is a great sign that he is able to come back. But honestly, if Brock Purdy wins, let's say let me look at the 49ers schedule real quick. We've got 5 games left. So if Brock Purdy wins the next 3 out of 5, or maybe even 4 out of 5 games, let's say we win 1 or 2 playoff games, and let's say we're in the NFC Championship game. There's a lot of ifs in here, but keep rolling with me. If Jimmy is available to play in the NFC Championship game, but Brock Purdy has basically played well for the last 7 to 8 weeks, who should we roll with? We roll with Jimmy G or we roll with Brock Purdy? I'll answer it first. I would roll with Brock Purdy. Simply because he's the hot man. He's got the hot hand. He's played well. I'm assuming I think he would have to play well for the last 7 to 8 weeks in order for us to be in that position. And I just don't think you want to bring in a rusty quarterback in Jimmy G. I don't think that would be setting him up for success. So I think even if Jimmy was healthy and available, I still think we should ride with Brock Purdy. What say you? Niner sickness.
I agree, especially if you're talking about playoffs. We know that playoffs, you're one and done. If you lose, you don't get another week to try to fix things. You're done. So if you're playing my dad always told me, if it ain't broken, don't even bother to fix it. Just ride with it. If Brock is playing good football, if he's moving the offense, if he's getting the ball to the players, pretty much if he's doing what Jimmy was doing and allowing the defense to do their job and getting the playmakers the ball and not turning it over, you got to write the hot hand. Why would you bring in Jimmy? Even if Jimmy is technically a little bit better, you got to go with the hot hand. Unless the defense and the running game is completely carrying Brock, where we're barely winning with Brock and we need some type of change, then I can see it. But if Brock is rocking, keep it going, man.
I like that. Brock is rocking. I gotta say, what's good? We have Damian Lee in the chat. We have Steven in the chat. NBS, aka No Border Sports, in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in to the stream tonight. For those that don't know about Niner sickness, I'd be surprised, but I forgot to ask you at the beginning of the show. Let the people know where they can find Niner sickness on social media, and also how many shows you got going on, because I know you're doing a lot. Let the people know.
My wife will say you can find me in the Cycle War, but besides that, you can find me on media. You can find me on all platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, everything under Niner Sickness Podcast. So it's pretty easy. You can follow me on all those platforms. I would appreciate it. If you come and listen to me, if at the very least, if you can't sleep at night and you're trying to get yourself to sleep, watch one of my shows. I guarantee you'll be asleep by the end of the show. So I can at least do that for you.
Don't be too hard on yourself, man. Nah, you are exciting to watch, and
I put
obviously
myself to sleep last time and I was doing my own show.
that's funny. I like that you're rocking that Nick Bosa jersey, and we'll definitely get into the 49ers defense and what are your thoughts about the defense. But let's get into some quick news real quick. I mean, I don't know about you, Beto, but I was getting tired of hearing about Baker Mayfield this, Baker Mayfield that. Well, it turns out our arch nemesis, NFC West divisional opponent, them sorry LA Rams, just picked up Baker Mayfield. I know some 49er fans, some NFL pundits were saying, hey, the Niners should pick up Baker Mayfield. What was your thoughts on that? And are you disappointed that the Niners did not get Baker Mayfield?
You know, I'm not disappointed. I would have been okay if we got him. I would have been okay. I'm okay if we didn't get him. I think he would have been a backup to Brock. I think having this type of experience and one game in the playoffs would have come into fruition on this team. But, you know, we still got Jimmy, you know, leading Brock and teaching Brock things and what to do and what not to do, man. So, and I think personally myself, I think getting someone like Baker Mayfield would have been a distraction for the young kid Brock. I think the whole social media circus that comes with him would have been a distraction. You don't need that type of distraction for this young kid. You need this young kid to be focused into what he's doing. He needs to feel that this is his team right now and not having to look over his shoulder. And I think he would be doing that with Baker Mayfield. So the Rams are still pissed off that we took CMC, and I think they're trying to get back to us. But they need a quarterback. I don't like the Rams. I dislike the Rams, but they didn't do it because they wanted to take him away from the Niners. They literally have to see what he can do for their team because they might not get Matthew Stafford back next year. That's their, you know, the team is hiding it up, but whenever you got a pinch on your neck, man, that's something not to play with. So maybe they need Mayfield more than we did. So I'm okay either way, bro. We would have got him. We didn't get him. But to be honest with you, now that he's not with us, I'm okay because I still believe he would have been a distraction to the young kid, personally.
Yeah, and you mentioned Matthew Stafford. You mentioned he's got a pinched nerve in his neck. I think that's a similar injury that Peyton Manning had. And I think Peyton Manning, he really wasn't the same after he had that injury, and it basically forced him to retire. I know he won the Super Bowl with Denver, but you know he definitely managed the game. He wasn't the same Peyton Manning with the Colts. You mentioned, you know, Baker Mayfield, you know, being a distraction. There's no doubt Baker Mayfield has baggage. He's a brash quarterback, loves to talk, and he's very confident in his abilities, and I respect that. But as a backup quarterback, you don't want that, right? You just want somebody. You're better left, you know, unseen, or excuse me, unheard than you know than. We don't want, you know, a Cam Newton type guy who talks a lot as your backup quarterback. You don't want a what's the Raiders punter? I can't remember his name, but the Raiders punter. He would talk a lot, and he didn't last too long in the league. But you don't want that type of guy in your locker room. But I would say this when I say that, I would say that Baker Mayfield has to be humbled, right? I mean, he was the first overall pick in the draft.
Yeah.
His team did not sign him to a contract extension, the Cleveland Browns. He gets traded, then he gets cut basically in December from the second team. So I would say he has to be humbled. I would say the average person will be humbled, and he's got to accept a backup role at this point. But it'll be interesting to see what he does with the LA Rams. He may get a starting, you know, opportunity there possibly next year, but we'll see. But yeah, I didn't think Baker Mayfield was the key to the 49ers getting to the Super Bowl. So,
Yeah,
you know, we didn't get him. We cool with that. let's talk about Brock Purdy now. Obviously, Jimmy G got hurt on the first drive. Seeing him on the cart, I was like, oh man, his season is definitely in jeopardy. Brock Purdy comes in. I don't know how you felt, Beto, but Brock Purdy, he looked poised. It didn't look like the moment was too big for him. That's what I noticed about Brock Purdy. The Finns were blitzing all over the place. And did Brock Purdy miss some reads? Yeah. But, he's a rookie.
Yeah.
And I thought he played pretty well for the situation. What were your first impressions of Brock Purdy in the game?
Well, this game was it made my heartbeat go up 2 times. The very first play of the game when they threw a touchdown right off the bat kind of reminded me a little bit of payback from when we scored. No, it was against the Browns. But anyway, when they scored the first play for a touchdown, I'm like, oh my God, here we go. Then we get back, right? And then we start playing, and then Jimmy goes down. And I'm like, oh, dang, there goes our season. There goes this game. And Brock Purdy came in, and to my surprise, this kid was poised. I mean, this kid has played in the Pac-12 for 4 years. He's played against a good defense. He's played against some good offenses. There's my beautiful wife saying hello. So there, what really got me, Jay, is in that one particular play on third down when the defender was right in his face and he stood there and delivered that strike to George Kittle for the first down. He was facing the end of the barrel and he did not get phased at all whatsoever by these defenders, and he took it in stride. This kid has poise. This kid, there's an it factor that is really hard to have. This kid has it. Now, how much can that carry over into other games? We'll find out. But I like what I saw. I was very impressed. I mean, we could have been much worse. And I honestly, when Jimmy went down, I thought we were going to lose this game for sure. And when Brock came in and started to, I believe he scored a touchdown in his first drive. Okay. I mean, who does that? Right. You know what I mean? So I like him. I think a lot of people are saying that the test is going to be against the Buccaneers. I honestly think that his test is going to come in Seattle against that type of atmosphere, in an away game. But the Tampa Bay Bucks would be a good game to adjust them, getting ready for it. But I was super excited. I was pleased with what I saw, and hopefully he can carry this on. This is really going to fall on Kyle Shanahan, Jay. Can Kyle Shanahan put him in good position to win? All he has to do is just make sure he doesn't turn the ball over. And with this defense and run game, we'll be fine.
No, absolutely. And I don't think the bar is set really high for Brock Purdy. Yeah. I mean, we are talking about he's replacing Jimmy G.
Yeah, he's not replacing Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly, right? He's not replacing Josh Allen here.
Yeah.
Like, okay, just hand the ball off and throw the ball to our playmakers, and don't turn the ball over. And he did have that one turnover, but I think that was a fourth down. The blitz was more like an
extended punt.
Yeah, exactly. Extended punt. He threw it up for, I think it was Ayuk there to just make.
Although he did have CMC open for the first down, he didn't see it.
And that's what I was talking about. So he did miss a read there, right? And he also missed, I think it was Tyler Kroft, I believe, as well. Yeah. I think he threw to Kittle on that route, and if he would have just waited a second, but he probably didn't have a second because the blitz was coming. Tyler Kroft was running wide open. It looked like an in route, so right in the middle of the field. But he's a rookie. What can we really expect there? But I just wanted to mention in training camp, 2 prominent NFL guys, Greg Papa, our 49ers radio announcer, and also Larry Krueger. Everyone knows Larry Krueger, former scout. He's on 95.7 The Game. He's got his own YouTube channel. They were saying in training camp that Brock Purdy was the best quarterback in training camp. That's what they were saying. You can look that up. But when you look at Brock Purdy, he basically is the leading passer at Iowa State University. You look at any passing record, Brock Purdy owns it. He started every game for 4 years straight. So that's why he looks comfortable. The
Yep.
moment isn't too big for him. So I think Brock Purdy should do well. Basically, I don't think he's going to do anything really different than Jimmy. Now, he might throw the ball deep. Maybe he might do that a little bit more than Jimmy, and I'm okay with that. But as long as he's accurate, which in yesterday's game or day before yesterday, he was 25 of 37, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. The plays will be schemed up for Brock. We're not going to ask him to do too much. And I think Kyle will put him in positions to succeed. And I think
he threw it for 37 times, bro.
That's a lot. I mean,
for a rookie coming in 37 times. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's trust.
I think those pass attempts will decrease. I think. I think that would be best for the Niners. I don't know about you, but CMC, he's a tough runner. He will lower his shoulder, but he can't really carry tacklers. He that's not really his strength. But
Jordan Mason, baby,
run him up the middle. I agree with you. Give Jordan Mason some more of those.
I love it. Little Marshawn Lynch,
right?
In the making.
Exactly. Jordan Mason, he had 8 carries, 51 yards. Give him 8 more. Let's give him 16 carries.
McCaffrey
McCaffrey has 17. Let's bump him down to 10 because he can still impact the receiving game. So I like that distribution of the ball more. Give more carries to Jordan Mason and a little bit less to McCaffrey.
And I would activate myself personally, Tevin Coleman, and I would deactivate TDP at this point.
TDP ain't showing you enough, man.
Third round is like a curse for running backs for us.
Okay. Yeah. It hasn't really.
I'm not ready to get rid of TFC. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. If people misunderstand me, I apologize. But he hasn't shown me nothing. I mean, has he shown something to you that you're like, yeah?
No. But I would say he hasn't really gotten an opportunity in the game.
Why is that?
But I know you have to prove it in practice. Like if you're not going above and beyond in practice, you're not, that's where you win your playing time when you're not,
if you're not
already
blocking,
anointed the starter.
Yep.
So you got to win it in practice. But I got to say, what's good? We've got Renee, we've got Eric, Cowboy Angel, Sejan. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Also, we have David McNew.
My boy. What's up, David?
David says, what's good, Jay and Beto? Glock Purdy is loaded, chambered, and hopefully has extra ammo.
I like it.
He
definitely throws spirals way better than Jimmy.
Absolutely. No doubt. No doubt. Appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. Feel free to hit that thumbs
Brian
up button.
is in the house. What's up, Brian?
We have Brian. What's good? Good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Let's go back to real quickly to Jimmy. I thought this could be his last snap as a 49er. If it is his last snap, and chat, feel free. I know you would love to give us your comments about this topic, but how will you remember Jimmy G if this is his last snap as a 49er?
They were saying that he might be back the way he's been playing. Because listen, whether you love Jimmy G or you hate Jimmy G, the evidence is in the pudding, man. This guy was playing his best football, I believe, as a 49er this year. Not turning the ball over. And unfortunately, he got hurt. Now, one of the reasons why they brought in Trey Lance, it wasn't, I don't care what people say, it wasn't because Jimmy can't throw deep and they were Jimmy this. It was more because Jimmy was not reliable and could stay on the field. So if the Niners were contemplating of bringing him back, I think this injury to his foot and the way he got hurt is probably going to be his last game as a 49ers for sure. And if Brock plays very well, enough to be a backup to Trey, then I can see definitely not bringing him back. Now, what I remember of Jimmy, what I remember is a humble man that everybody loved. You can hate his game on the field, but it's hard to hate him as an individual because he gives nobody no reason to hate him, even if you don't know him. What's good, J-Rod? You know what I mean? So Jimmy was an excellent and will always be an excellent teammate. Never put nobody under the bus. Always encouraged people. Always lifted people up. Listen, what Jimmy went through in this offseason, and to stay humble, to come back and play, and have to be a backup. I mean, the guy was sitting out during the training camp. Wasn't he like that stepchild that nobody wanted, all the way to the right? You know what I mean? Like he had some type of disease, and you know what I mean? It's like that kid, that unpopular kid, and he still stayed humble and stayed here and played. So what would I remember about Jimmy is a great teammate, a great example of what a man should be. Whether he throws interceptions or not, that's one thing. But as a man, this guy is a cool guy. I would love him as a friend, not so much as a quarterback, but as a friend. I think he's awesome.
Okay, you are very positive, Beto. I love it, man. I love your positivity, man. But chat, feel free to chime in on this question. If Jimmy has played his last snap as a 49er, how will you remember Jimmy G? Man, I would say Jimmy G is one of the most maligned quarterbacks, I can remember, especially in 49ers history. I think he's probably been more maligned than Alex Smith was. And honestly, I think he's had,
oh, for sure.
Yeah, he's had better seasons than Alex. You could argue that Alex was in a more dysfunctional franchise. I mean, so many different offensive coordinators. He was the number 1 overall pick. We picked Alex over Aaron Rodgers. So I would remember Jimmy as everything you said. Great teammate. Guys love him. Guys want to play with him. But the fans, depending upon who you ask, they either love him or they hate him. And I will remember Jimmy. Obviously, he's got good stats. 38-17 record with the 49ers. 87 touchdowns, 42 interceptions, over 13,000 passing yards with the 49ers. He's got 2 NFC championships, 1 Super Bowl appearance. When you those are facts. That can't be argued, right? But I'll just remember him as a guy that wasn't good enough. That's how I'll remember Jimmy. I think he still is one of the best 49er quarterbacks in this century, but I will remember him as a guy that couldn't get it done. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'll remember. He had some good moments with the Niners. He had some bad moments. He had some head scratching moments. I'm sure every quarterback has had those type of moments, but obviously when you're talking about the Niners, you're talking about Montana Young. And I think, just to be real, Jimmy G fell short of that. And most quarterbacks will. But, I appreciate Jimmy for his time with the 49ers if he has played his last snap. And I like what someone said in them comments. Let's see. I saw a comment. Let me bring it up on the screen. Bryant. He brought us back to being a respectable franchise. And that is one thing that...
Yes, he did.
That is one thing that is not debatable. Like, we were a terrible franchise when we traded for Jimmy G. When he was healthy, we were definitely relevant. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, that's what I remember from Jimmy. Wasn't quite good enough, but he was solid enough to make us a respectable team in the NFL. So that's what I remember. Let's continue reading on some comments about what the faithful will remember about Jimmy G. Let's see. Let's go down. David says the only way Jimmy G comes back is if he has nowhere to go. Hopefully another team steps up and sign him. I don't hate James. I think that's a topic for another day as far as if he'll be back next year. But I just have a feeling, who knows, right? Who knows? Because last year we had the same argument. And it turns out he was still with the team. So we really don't know.
Can we agree on this though, Jay, that if he does come back, he'll be back as a starter. He's not coming back as a backup.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And that's going to be starter money. So that's why I can't see him coming back, bro.
Yeah. And I think he played well enough this year where there'll be a handful of teams that'll kick the tires on Jimmy.
They're not going to let this injury stop him. They already learned. Listen, how many teams regret not getting him from his shoulder injury, the way he played from week 2 to week 12? You think the Colts wouldn't glad to have him?
Yeah,
you think there's what other teams am I missing out there that would love to have him? The Panthers? You know what I mean? So There'll be somebody that will take him.
Brian says, I'm going to leave it to the coaches to decide. And he said he doesn't know if it is his last snap. Yeah, I just feel like there will be a few teams that should be interested, and there won't be any shoulder issue this offseason. So I think that'll definitely help. David says, I will remember him for his smile. Sometimes smiling at the wrong time, but always smiles. I would take him as a clouding partner. Interesting.
He's always been that's that whole narrative about him smiling when he throws a bad play. He's just a positive kid, man. He's just positive. You know, if I look like him, I would be smiling all the time too.
That's right. Men want to be him and women want to be with him, right? I mean, that's Jimmy G for you.
I think that's why a lot of the Niner guys hate him, because their girlfriends are like, he's cute.
That's funny. We got Rick in the building.
What's up, Rick?
Thanks for tuning in to the stream tonight, man. Appreciate you coming in. Let's see. Cowboy will remember our defense crumbled in the Super Bowl. We were up. Those are facts.
That wasn't Jimmy. That big toss to Hill wasn't Jimmy.
Yeah. Sejan, a Seattle Seahawks fan, says that Jimmy G was a good addition to 49ers culture and a good game manager that got you wins but fell short. Yeah.
Very true, brother. Very true.
Very true. Rick says, I agree. I don't see Jimmy coming back, and that is a backup quarterback. Yeah, I don't see him coming back as a backup. G-Rod, Purdy threw nearly 10,000 yards in his college career. Yeah. He set a whole bunch of records at Iowa State. Started off 4 years, so I think that's why he looks so comfortable.
Yeah.
Sejan says, yep, read that one. Okay. But yeah, appreciate you guys' thoughts on how you remember Jimmy G. I just wanted to throw that out there because it potentially could have been his last snap with the Niner Empire. Got to ask you about the Fins game. What were some positive takeaways? Offense, defense, or special teams? You know, what are a few takeaways you take from that game?
Number 91 is back. Eric Armstead. Welcome back, man. Even though he was on a pitch count, this guy immediately, his presence showed evidence in that defense. That first sack by Nick Bosa, it was caused by the pocket being pushed in by Eric Armstead. That first interception that Jimmy Ward had, which was a great play by Jimmy Ward. But if you look at Eric Armstead, he was the cause of it, causing that interception. So that was something that I saw positively, Eric Armstead being back in that defense. Yes, we lost Ridgeway, kind of sucks, but having big 91 in there, bro, you can just see what Bosa did. 3 sacks. Do you think anybody missed Eric Armstead more than Bosa? Let me tell you. So that was a positive on the defensive side. Offensively, Jordan Mason. We love what CMC did. 80 yards in the air. I think he ran, I forgot how many yards, 66 on the ground. But Jordan Mason, 8 carries for 51 yards. And those were not easy 51 yards. And this guy can, he's a bulldozer. I would love to see, like you said, 16 plays or more for him. But that's what I took away. Jordan Mason on offense, and I definitely took away I'm a big fan of Eric Armstead. I know there's that Nick DeForest Buckner comparison, blah, blah, blah. I can care less. Eric's here. DeForest is not. And I like my guy, man. His presence was shown yesterday, at least for me.
No, I would agree. Yeah, I think he showed up and showed out. As you mentioned, I think he played about 21 of 46 snaps, but obviously they got to ease him into the game. And yeah, I think he was wrecking havoc. Like, he didn't have the number of stats or whatever, the sacks or whatever, but there's no doubt Nick Bosa appreciated him being in there. That's for sure.
Yeah. He's like, welcome back. Yeah, because stats can be deceiving, bro. Sometimes for the interior lineman, people look at it. Okay, people, I don't know what it is. I love playing fantasy football. I enjoy it, but I can tell the difference. I can separate the two, real football and fantasy, right? Sometimes Niner fans can't do that. Everything's, like points, like sacks. Sometimes a defender can be so important in a defense and not even a sack. You know what I mean? Sacks are bonuses. But if you're the reason why your partners are having sacks, then you're a big part of that team. And that's what
Absolutely.
Armstead does. He doesn't get all the credit. He's an unsung hero that puts in all the work. You know what I mean? He's like linemen. Linemen never get credit. The only time they get their names called is when they make a penalty.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So
Pretty much. No, great thoughts about that. I'm gonna continue reading a few comments. G-Rod says Jimmy always carries himself well at the pressers. He's comical. Okay. Sejin says, is it true that Purdy was the last pick in the quarterback draft? Yes, he was. If he was, dude is about to shine at the right time. Absolutely. I think he's already made a record. I think he's the only Mr. Irrelevant quarterback to throw a touchdown pass in his NFL career. So he's already, making waves at the position. We got Rhino in the building.
what's up, Rhino?
Woo! Rhino says Purdy has poise, something TL and JG don't seem to have. I will always love Jimmy and Trey, but BP is just different. The offense clicks perfectly with him in it. I mean, there's no doubt Purdy, if we're comparing Purdy to Trey, which is it's kind of unfair, but this is the pros. They play the quarterback position, so of course they're going to, be compared with each other. But I mean, you look at the amount of games that Brock Purdy has played in his career compared to Trey. It's like a newborn and an adult, man. You
I'm
can't
picking Trey Lance over and over and over and over and over and over and over over Brock. I'm sorry.
But you can't really compare them, but I understand why you do. But yeah, there's no doubt Purdy looked comfortable. He looked very, very comfortable in the pocket, and it's something you love to see. His first start looked more comfortable than Trey's. There's no doubt about that. So,
but that's that experience you were alluding to, though. 4-year starter compared to a 1-year starter, and then the second year he misses because of COVID.
Right. No, exactly. There's no doubt about that. What I liked, what I saw in the game versus the Fins, I like what I saw from Drake Jackson. It was a 1-possession game in the fourth quarter that the Fins were driving the ball down. He put that big hand up there, batted the ball down at the line of scrimmage. And then Dre Greenlaw forces that incomplete. That was a huge challenge. I mean, that turned the ball over downs, and that was basically that ended the game right there.
Greenlaw's playing out of his mind, bro.
He is playing out of his mind. Yeah, Greenlaw is a beast. And yeah, definitely love what I saw there. Demo Lenore got an interception. That was good to see.
Yes, good for Lenore, man.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, there's something else. I'm sure it'll come up, but those are definitely good things that I saw. Oh yeah. Special teams. I know special teams isn't really a sexy topic, but I like what I saw from our special teams unit. You look at Mitch Wisnowski. He had 4 punts. 2 of them went into the 20. So obviously it makes it harder for the offense to go down and score. That, you have to take that into account. Ray McLeod, he had 2 punt returns, right?
Yeah, come on, Ray.
He didn't score a touchdown, no, but he averaged 17 yards. So that's pretty good in my book. I mean, I don't remember the last time we had a punt returner do that on a consistent basis. So I think that was a huge plus. And where would we be without Robbie Gould?
Come on, Gold, man. He's the gold money.
Right, exactly. So special teams took care of business. And I know it's something that we only kind of talk about if they screw up, which we did that a lot the last few years, right? But they showed up and showed out in Sunday's game. So just wanted to point them out. Obviously, there's some positive takeaways. We got to get into some negative takeaways. I'll take this one first. I don't know how you feel, Faithful, but it is annoying. It just pisses me off when I see the offense come to the line of scrimmage when there's 5 seconds left on the play clock. Shanahan's running to the ref. Brock Purdy has to turn around and signal a timeout. I just don't get it. If there's 2 plays in the huddle, hey, get to the line of scrimmage when there's 10 seconds left on the play clock. Obviously, Brock has to survey the defense, verify, are we going to keep the first play? Are we going to switch to the second play? But give yourself more time. The 49ers burned, it seemed, at least like 2 to 3 timeouts on those situations. So I don't know. That ticks me off when I see it because it can be avoided, whether Shanahan needs to get the plays in faster or maybe it's on the rookie Brock Purdy. But I felt like when Jimmy was in there, it was the same thing. And maybe it's an issue where we want to have the most time of possession, so we're taking the longest amount of time, whatever. But that was one thing that annoys me in the game that annoyed me, I should say, in the game. What say you, Niners Signals? Was there anything that you think we should improve on, for next week versus Tampa Bay?
Clock management. Absolutely. You hit it right on the nail right on the head, man. Clock management, whether it's Kyle, whether it's relaying the message on time, whether I understand it with Brock is a little bit different than Jimmy because he's trying to understand the play that is coming in and he's looking at his arm and trying to figure what it is. So I can see where the delay, hopefully this improves with a week of practice. You know what I mean? But they got to fix that clock management. You can't afford to be burning timeouts like that because those timeouts could have come in handy. Now, with that said, and I know this wasn't your question, but with that said, I do got to give props to our boy Kyle Shanahan for making two. What's the word I'm looking for? When he throws a red flag, what are they called?
Challenge.
Challenge. Thank you.
Yeah.
2 challenges on the same drive.
Yeah.
And winning them. So kudos for him for that. But that's how important times out are because you can't do a challenge if you don't have a timeout. So you need those timeouts to be able to do the challenges. Imagine those 2 challenges that we won if we didn't have no timeout.
Yeah.
So you got to be more careful with those timeout. So I'm with you. That was very, very frustrating when those timeouts were called because of a miscommunication.
No, I agree. That's something that they definitely need to clean up because when we play the upper echelon teams, those mistakes could come to bite us. One other thing that I'm going to switch back to positive that I noticed was the 49ers third down defense. I mean, now granted, Tua was rattled, right? I mean, I think it was after the first touchdown, it just seemed like Tua was rattled. Whether the pressure was getting to him, but he was just missing so many throws high. But credit to the 49ers defense. We didn't allow them to get a first down when they had a third down. They were 0 for 7. So I think that's kind of wishful thinking for that to continue. But that was a pretty good job getting off the field on third down, getting the ball back to the offense because, I mean, it basically was a 1-possession game, midway through the fourth quarter. So it was still, a nip and tuck game. So, but credit to the 49ers defense on that.
No, absolutely. Did they give up 2 plays? Yes.
Yeah.
They gave the very first place. With that one, I understand. The second play was a broken coverage by Hufanga. He jumped, and instead of covering Charvarius Ward thought Hufanga had his back, and he didn't. And that play to Hill, the rest is history. But 2 big plays that cost 14 points, obviously. But to hold a offense as explosive as Miami has been, who cares who they have played? They came in the third best offense in the NFL. We held them to 17 points. So did you know that we only given up 2 games more than 20 points?
Man,
it was to Kansas City and to Atlanta. Everyone else has been under 20 points. So if our boy Brock can get us to 21 points, we're in a good spot, with this defense. So very proud of our defense for and to me, you know what, Jay, every time we start a game, that first drive on the opposite, the offense, whoever that offense is, it doesn't frighten me. Like if they score right away, I don't care because it's always seems to me that D'Amico is kind of trying to figure out and get a feel for what the offense wants to do. And he lets the first one kind of ride. But then if you notice that every time he comes back the second drive and starts smacking the offense around, and he's done it multiple times. So now if I see this like touchdown after touchdown, a couple of drives, different drives,
KC,
like KC, then I start to panic. But other than that, D'Amico just needs to get a feel of what the offense is doing, kind of like he's playing chess. I get someone playing checkers, and once he gets where he knows where he's sitting at, he starts making his adjustments. But I'm very proud of D'Amico Ryans and this defense for sure, brother.
No, absolutely, and we got to cherish D'Amico Ryans because
he'll be bye-bye.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get a head coaching gig.
But I'll welcome those 2 third-round picks again.
Absolutely, yeah, and it'll be interesting who Shanahan decides to bring in. One name, his for some reason, Vic Fangio, I think could
He's
be
he's
an
there. He's
option.
with the team right now.
Right, right. So maybe he transitions
I hope
over.
not.
You hope not,
No, I do not want him.
because he's going to change up the scheme
Yes,
to three
because he's going
four.
to go
Yeah,
back to his three. And I don't like it. And not only that, but he's old school. He's not. He's stubborn in his old ways. Sometimes his old ways doesn't work with his new offense.
right.
You know, and this is what I love about D'Amico. D'Amico, they're young-minded coaches. They're going to take different approach. And I don't know. I'm an old guy myself, so you think I'll be rooting for the old guy, right? But
Right.
because I'm old, I understand I can be stubborn too, and sometimes you can be stuck in your ways. And I don't know. He's a great defensive mind, Banjo, but I just don't. But I don't know who else would come in. We would have to look around. But I like these young minds and what they're capable of doing. So,
Especially when you see the 4-3 work so well, and you
yes.
see the nickel work so well. I mean, I don't want Bosa to be an outside linebacker. I don't want him to be that. I want
Yeah,
him to
bro.
be, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like
I don't want
Alden.
him to,
Yeah.
he needs his hand in the dirt, just go after the quarterback. That's it. Like, I
Yep.
don't want to see him do other things,
Yes,
So,
sir.
yeah, we'll see what happens though. We shall see. I gotta say, what's good? We have David V in the building, G
What's up,
Rod,
David?
Jag, KD is in the building. Appreciate you guys tuning into the stream, and we'll continue to read some comments. Let's see. G Rod agrees with me. You're so right, Jay. Ridiculous timeouts. I agree. Sejan says it's the same for the Seahawks on the play clock. Piss, man, you are not alone. Yeah, because it's something that can definitely be avoided. And hopefully they,
Wasn't Harbaugh like the worst when it
yeah,
came to clock management? Oh my
yeah.
God.
Hopefully that'll be a point of emphasis in practice this week. And speaking of practice, I know Brock Purdy, he's practiced against the number one defense pretty much all year as a scout team quarterback. And now he'll be, the starting quarterback with starting weapons going up against this defense. So hopefully we continue to see Brock Purdy, progress and get better as the season goes on.
Yeah, I like what Fred Warner said. He's gone against the best defense for 13 weeks.
Right.
And it's true as a scout. And I think this is why he came in and did so well too, because he was playing the offense of the Dolphins, so he was familiar with what they were doing. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think with the week of practice, I think Brock will be a little bit better than he was week on Sunday with the Dolphins for sure.
No, absolutely. And we'll definitely talk about the Tampa Bay game in a little bit and what to expect. But Rhino does agree. He says, yes, the special teams have been amazing. Ray, Mitch, and Robbie Gold. Wow.
Yes.
David says Shanahan needs to get the play in faster and coach up Glock Purdy. Clock management has been a weakness for Shanahan. I agree.
The special teams were top 10 special teams right now.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
Hey,
top 10.
that's a great metric to be in. It was pretty much an overhaul with the special teams. Got rid of Hightower, brought in a new special teams coordinator, Schottenheimer, and brought in some guys, Orrin Burks, George Odom, Ray McLeod. So seems like those investments are paying off. That's for sure.
Yep.
And let's see. Let's continue. Let's see. Rick says to protect our quarterback, we need the right guard, left guard, in the center to make a wall and protect the quarterback that's offering signs. Got to run their assignment. Now, Burford was out in on Sunday's game. I didn't see a huge drop off. Wasn't expecting to see a huge drop off since Brunskill. We know what he can do, and I thought he filled in well. And he's been playing, I would say, at least the last 2 months, whether it be right guard, left guard. Sometimes he's at center. We know he's a versatile player who can play basically every position.
I like him everywhere but center, bro. I love him everywhere but center.
But center, okay. And let's just, speaking of center, do you think the Niners will stick with Jake Brendel next year? Are we going to sign him to a contract extension next year?
I hope so, because this kid's been getting better. He's been getting better. He's getting more familiar with his Kyle's offense, and yeah, I would love to bring him back. Even though we have developmental centers already there, keep developing them. But I will definitely bring, and he won't cost us that much.
Yeah, I think if you brought him in to compete with the guys you already have, I would be down with that. I wanted this team to take, and of course his name is escaping me, but he was probably one of the better centers who came out of the draft this past season out of Iowa, I believe. But this team doesn't really they're not going to draft a center in the first 3 rounds. So it's kind of wishful
Well, they're
thinking.
going to
But
draft a running back in the third.
exactly. We'd rather draft a running back, or a guard, and hey, Aaron Banks has panned out. Aaron Banks, I think, that was a wise pick. I would have rather gotten Asante Samuel Jr., but hey, it seems to have worked out so far.
Yeah, at this point, I'm glad that we got Aaron Banks over Samuel, just because we need that. I mean, I understand the offensive line is not a beautiful, fantasy football type of, players you want, but without that offensive line, all your playmakers can do what they do best.
Right. And what are your thoughts on David's statement? He says we should pay D'Amico Ryan like a head coach and keep him. Coaches don't count against the salary cap. What say you, Beto?
The thing with that, David, is every coach that has ever coached, their dream thing is to become a head coach, to lead their own squad. And whenever that opportunity comes, it doesn't always come all the time. So he's going to take an opening somewhere else over staying with us just because he wants to fulfill his dream. And he deserves it. I hate to lose him. I really would, but I wish him the best, and I hope he goes into a great situation like Robert Saleh. And I don't know, it's okay situation, but I wish him the best. And moving forward, and I believe in Kyle and Shanahan. They've been so far; they haven't proved me wrong. Robert Saleh, then D'Amico. We'll see. I don't know, who do we have inside they can possibly, besides Fangio just hanging around? Who is there? Who's the linebacker coach right now? Do you know?
Is it Holland? I think his last name's Holland. I think.
How about the D-backs coach?
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, linebackers and D-back coaches make pretty good defensive coordinator because they kind of know the whole. I wouldn't even be mad if. What do you think about our D-line coach making him a defensive coordinator? Nah.
I would want him to stay as my D-line coach.
Yeah, I hear you. Because then people start wanting to poach him away.
Exactly.
You're right. Stay where you're at.
Yeah, I would keep him at. So, maybe, the 49ers are either promote someone within or maybe get another, defensive coordinator that's on the market or something like that. So, we'll see. Gotta say what's good to Niner Fanatic Podcast. Thanks for
Peter.
Stream tonight. Hopefully you're doing well. David says, I say no to Brindle. We could find a veteran or promote from within. I see Brindle get blown up when he does get blown up. Is he obviously he's not elite at his position. Could we do better? Yes, but I don't think the Niners aren't gonna sign or draft a center high. They're not gonna, I don't think they're gonna pay to get a lot of money for a free agent center. No, they're not gonna do that. So it's either Brindle, Brunskill, or maybe Nick Zakel, or one of the other guys we've drafted this year. Their names are escaping me, but it's definitely going to be someone from within. I think the answer at center is probably on the roster right now, I would say. So, KD, hot diggity dog. Appreciate that $5 super chat, KD. He says, what do you feel about what Kyle said to Nick Bosa? Did you catch that? What
Yeah. He told him, don't ever F with me again. He was referring, the whole story, right? Kyle in his press conference said that the linebacker did a better job than the D-line for the New Orleans Saints, which he was pushing Bosa and them, and it worked. Bosa took it personally. He didn't like it, and he responded. Yes, Jason Poe is one that could be playing center perfectly. Thank you, David. But
on the spot.
Yeah. He went up to him and kidding though, but he did. But Kyle said he thought he was going to get a hug, and both just told him straight up, don't ever say this about me again, and walked away.
I think it was great motivation by Shanahan. Great tactic. You got your player fired up. And I'm sure, of course, it's all love, but I think it's a great tactic to get your player fired up,
Yep. So. Don't get him arrested though.
Of course not. We got 49er minded in the
What's up, Bashar?
building. What's good? Hope all is well, Bashar. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Now, chat. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Of course, give me one key for the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Beto, what is one thing that the 49ers need to do this Sunday versus TB12? I mean, TB12 is coming back to the Bay. Supposedly, he was a Niner fan growing up as a kid.
Yes, he was. He was a big Joe Montana.
Yeah, supposedly there's this photo of him at Candlestick with his mom. So yeah, TB12 reunion. Hey, what's one key for the 49ers to get a victory on Sunday?
Yeah, he's locally from I'm trying to think,
San Mateo or Palo Alto, something like
somewhere
that.
in that area.
Okay.
And he grew up as a Niner fan. The way I look at it is this: a 6th-round quarterback will be facing a 7th-round quarterback in this game. Obviously, two different outcomes of those. But listen, I don't know if you watch when they asked Brock about Tom Brady, and then he kind of caught up in the starstruck moment where he's like, wow, he's been playing longer than I've been alive, and it'll be this and that. And then he stopped and he goes, but we'll prepare to play, right? And like he realized, okay, you know what? This is a game. And I think he'll define what do the Niners need to do? Bosa and Eric Armstead need to make sure that Tom Brady is hearing footsteps. If you can't sack him, hit him, push him, make him fall, drop him, do whatever it takes. Because if you take him off his rhythm and get him kind of flustered, he'll make mistakes, and there'll be opportunities for our linebackers or corners to capitalize from it. So I would say disrupt and be all over Tom, and they can definitely do it. If they can do that, this will be a winnable game for us.
Yeah, and I would say Tom threw an interception on Monday Night Football to a linebacker. So and what I want to see TB12 throw that tablet. Go ahead, break another tablet, because if he does on Sunday, I know that the Niners defense is frustrating him, and Tom Brady does not like to get hit. So we definitely need to get after him with pressure. And he loves to throw the ball quickly, less than 3 seconds. He loves to throw short patterns, screens, things like that. So he doesn't, I mean, he will throw the ball deep, but if the pressure is on, he's not really going to sit in, take the hit. He's going to get rid of that ball.
He's going to dump and dunk. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Buccaneers defense is legit. I think they have a legit defense. I think it's going to be key I think Jordan Mason could be the key in this game. Get him 15 to 20 carries. Why not? Hell, like you said, put in Tevin Coleman. Why not? Get these guys more carries. I don't want to see Brock throw more than 30 passes. Like, we should be running the ball. I loved how we won the time of possession last week. We had like 40 minutes. Let's do that again. Keep TB12 off the field. And the way you do that, you got to execute on 3rd down and you got to be able to run the ball. So hopefully we get a better running game performance. I think the Bucs are average run defense. I think they're like middle of the pack. They're like somewhere between, they're averaging about, or they're allowing like 118, 120 yards rushing per game. So
we'll be able to stop Fournette and White for sure. Rashad White.
Right.
I like what Sijin says. He says, refs won't let you put a pinky on Tom Brady anyways. Let's put our fist then.
I completely agree with that. Don't even bring him to the ground. Just hold him. Just hold him. Don't bring him to the ground, because
you're going to get penalized. Let Tom Brady feel it.
Absolutely. Hey, that's true too. Yeah, if you're going to get penalized, let him feel it. So
yeah.
Now, Tampa Bay's defensive line is pretty good. Their defensive line is stout. I think our offensive line will definitely
they're without their tackle. They're without the right tackle.
Yeah, their offensive line. Yeah, I think they're out without Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah, he's going to be out. Yeah.
So yeah, it should be a very, very interesting game. TB12 coming back to the Bay. But I'm very excited for that game. Looking at the 49ers schedule, I think we only have 2 road games. I think it's
Seattle,
Las Vegas, and Seattle.
Which one?
Las Vegas, the Raiders.
Yes.
So we're basically on the West Coast for the rest of the year. Yes. Every other game is at home. Now, looking at the schedule, which team concerns you the most? And we've got Tampa Bay next week. We've got Seattle after that, the Commanders, the Raiders, and then the Cardinals.
Listen, I go by conference and I go by division. So
Okay.
where we're at conference wise compared to Seattle, because that's the team that we're competing with right now. They're right behind us. How many conference games have they won? How many conference games have we won? We have the ledge on Seattle over the game that we beat them the second week of the season. The two games that we need to win is Seattle and Arizona, in my opinion. The one game that we can afford to lose will be to the Raiders. I don't like the Raiders. I just like the Raiders, but I'm not going to be naive to say that losing to a non-conference team is not going to hurt us as much. Losing to Tampa Bay, the Commanders, or what's the other team I'm missing?
The Cardinals?
No. Yeah, the Cardinals. Oh, that's right. They're yeah, or the Cardinals. Well, the Cardinals for our division, but yeah. So I don't want to lose to a conference team. I definitely don't want to lose a division team. So if there's a team to lose, it would be to the Raiders, and I'm okay with that. But this is me. If we beat Tampa Bay and we beat our Seattle, there's no way we lose the NFC West.
Right.
There's no way. There's no way Seattle can come back and take it away from us, even if we tie. So this is why it's important to beat Seattle and Tampa.
No,
we don't start getting to the logistics towards the end, who we have to beat or who we don't have to beat. Let's take care of business in these two games. We're good.
Yeah, I completely agree. It would suck to lose to the Raiders, but as far as standings, it won't be that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we gotta beat Arizona, gotta beat Seattle. I think the toughest game, and for Brock Purdy, is going to be up in Seattle. I mean, yes. I thought the boogeyman was gone in Russell Wilson, but they're still a team that's playing all out for Pete Carroll.
Carroll can coach, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and that's what matters. I know what's his face at quarterback. He hasn't had
Smith.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't had the illustrious career, but that team is motivated and they're playing hard for each other and playing hard for Pete Carroll. So that's going to be a tough game on Thursday night. It's going to be a short week for the 49ers. Yes. Fortunately, it's only like an hour and a half flight, but that's going to be an intriguing game up there in Seattle. We know those fans are some of the loudest fans in the NFL. So obviously, at Seattle is probably be the toughest, I think, remaining game on the schedule. Now, don't sleep on the Commanders. Now, the Commanders, they always play the 49ers tough. And, look at some clips of their defensive line. Like, all their defensive linemen are like former first-round picks.
Oh, yeah. Sweat. You got Sweat. You got
Deron Payne. I know Chase Young are
first-rounders.
Yeah, all of them are like former first rounders. So our offensive line will definitely have a character building day for sure going up against the Commanders. And they always love to play us tough. They love to run the ball. Not scared of Heineke, but that's not going to be an easy game for sure. That's for sure.
No, number 99 is back from injury. Bosa's what was it? Wasn't it Chase?
Chase Young.
He's back. He's reckon, and the other guy too, the big middle guy. D-tackle guy from Alabama.
Oh, Jonathan Allen, right?
Jonathan Allen, big boys. So, these guys you're right. And their linebackers are okay. Their secondaries are good. And you can't sleep on the Commanders for sure. There's no flukes. This is why it's important to beat Tampa and to beat Seattle, because we have 5 games left. If we lose 2 games and win 3, we're pretty much in.
Yeah.
So we can lose to the Raiders and we can lose to the Commanders and still be okay. But if we lose to Tampa, now our margin just went lower.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this is why this game is important this weekend.
Absolutely. David feels we need to win out. We are playing good at home this season. Hopefully the Vikings choke and we can take over the number 2 seed, but we'll see. Yeah, and the Vikings are playing pretty well,
Yeah, they're not choking. They're not choking this year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not scared of Captain Kirk. No. But they're playing inspired with their new head coach.
But they haven't played a defense like us, and when they did,
right?
What happened to when they played the Dallas Cowboys? What was the outcome of that game?
Yeah, exactly.
And our defense is just as good as the Cowboys, so I'm not afraid of the Vikings.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a pleasure. Huge shout out to everyone that was in the chat tonight.
Yeah.
Love hearing the comments. Love having an interactive show. Always great and a fun time to be with Niner Sickness. We got to do it more often, man. I know we're both real busy. Holiday season, that time of the year, but let the people know who haven't heard of Sickness where they can find you. Of course, all your social media links are in the description of this video, but of course, they can find you on your YouTube channel. But do you have any other shows you know that you want the people to know about? Let them know.
Yeah, I appreciate that. On Wednesday nights, we have what you call the last man standing. There's four of us, and what we do is we pick all 32 games, all the games that are not all 32, but all the games that are played on for that week, and we're seeing who is the last man standing. So you can catch that on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. And then on Tuesdays, we have our 49er weekly recap with my boy Kalen, Shifty's 49ers.
Yeah.
Awesome guy. We have our shows. Our time varies because of his schedule. Sometimes we go on a 2 like we did today. Sometimes we go in at 7. So you would have to be plugged into our channel on YouTube or his as we alternate. And then pretty much I fly solo. I like to, you know what? I'm retired. Honestly, whenever my wife wants me out of her face, I come to my office and I go live. Nobody else wants me. I come to you guys. So make sure you hit the notification bell so you guys will be notified when I go on. So yeah, and Niner Fantastic podcast. He's one of the guys that does the Last Man Standing. Peter, man, great guy. Make sure to follow his channel as well. Go follow his channel. Great guy. So yeah, thank you. And you can find me on all the platforms under Niner Sickness Podcast.
Hey, absolutely, man. Always a pleasure to have you on. Continue to grow and shine, and glad that you got your YouTube channel back, man, because you know all the hard work and the hours you put in building a community, for it to get taken away like that is definitely disheartening. But glad you got that back. And yeah, when is your, so let's see, today's Tuesday, so you got a show tomorrow night, The Last Man
Tomorrow
Standing?
7, yeah.
Okay, cool, man.
Like today, I did a show back to back. I did yours, which is 7:30, and then a friend of mine's like, "Hey, you still on for 6?" I'm like, "Oh, forget about 6." All right, give me a few minutes. So we did an hour and a half show there. So
nice.
After this, I'm
double
gonna
duty.
I'm gonna go and watch TV and get out of this. But yeah, man, I appreciate it. You bringing me on. It's been a while. I've always admired you from afar, man. I love what you do, Jay. I have so much high respect for you because you don't allow your emotions to lead you one way or the other. You are a firm man in your convictions. You believe what you believe, and you put out there what you believe, no matter what people say. And I love that about you. Continue to stay 100% real, man. As your channel continues to grow, man, you're an awesome. I'm telling you, my wife loves Jay and the Bay Show. She really enjoys your show, man. So keep it up, brother. Keep entertaining your guest. And keep working, keep grinding, brother, because you're doing a phenomenal job.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the kind words. I got to leave you with what's good. And it's been a pleasure tonight. And I got the Niners winning versus the Bucks. Who you got? What's the score?
I got the Niners winning. I said this earlier, 24-17 Niners.
All right, I like that score, man. Well, that's it for us. You guys have a great rest of your night. Go Niners.
Buenas noches a todos.
All righty. And yes, KD. Yeah, we did see your super chat earlier. And what Kyle said to Nick Bosa. And yeah, Kyle, I think he said basically he was kind of saying, hey, the linebackers played better than the defensive line. And Nick Bosa was like, hey, man, he didn't appreciate that, but I took it as it's just motivation for your star player, right? You want your star player, you want to get more out of your star player. And that's kind of like what me and Beto felt about that. But yeah, we did see your super chat earlier in the night, but I appreciate that, KD. As always, go 49ers. Appreciate everyone who tuned in to the stream tonight. Everyone have a prosperous week. And hey, I'll see you guys. Let's see. Today's Tuesday. Probably have a live stream probably Sunday before the Niners game. and a post-game live stream probably the following day. So hopefully you guys can tune in then. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Go Niners.